I'm Karen, conscious parent coach, energy practitioner, Akashic record reader, indie mama to two amazing young people. And I am much more than that. I am also an infinite soul on an infinite timeline, just like you and just like your kids. What if we dropped in right here, right now, and allow that knowing to inform our parenting? You with me? Welcome to the Quantum Family Podcast. Okay, first Quantum Family Podcast. Here we go. I am so excited to be here. All right, so my name is Karen Murphy. You know, when I became a mom about 19 years ago, I really felt like I was a natural at a lot of things. But I had no idea how to best support my kids with all the emotional stuff. And there was a lot of emotional stuff. You know, this is planet Earth after all, and life is often really messy. As much as I aspire to protect my kids from times of challenge, chaos, and heartache, I soon realized that that's not possible. Those are a given, and my kids, and also your kids, are here for the full experience. Then my question became, how do I raise my kids to weather the storms, flow the emotions, self-regulate in times of stress, no matter what life cooks up? That question led me in search of the most constructive teachings, tools, strategies, and practices that I could find that would result in both inner and outer balance, not just for my kids, but for the whole family. And that's when I realized that this thing called parenting, it's truly a sacred journey, all on its own, full of hidden treasure and opportunities for both healing and enlightenment. So again, welcome here. This is the Quantum Family Podcast. Consider it your resource for learning tools, practices, and paradigm-shifting concepts to support your family's sacred adventure. Here's my intent for this first podcast. I'm going to share a little bit more about my journey, and then I want to give you something really applicable and practical that you can take into your family life that will support your stepping onto that sacred journey today. And finally, I want to give you a moment of an experience of inner connection, because that's where it all begins. Okay, so let's begin right here with a story. And this is a story that I tell that shifted my entire parenting paradigm. And it happened when my oldest son was 5 and my youngest son was a newborn. And I call this the toast story. So my oldest son had just started kindergarten and he was having a really positive experience, but I knew also that there was probably some stress on his system because it was so new. He was spending so much time away from home with a lot of new people and new expectations. And I had just read a book called Connection Parenting by Pam Leo, and it gave some insight into how to support kids when they're moving a lot of emotional energy through their system. Anyway, this is the toast story. It was morning. It was a school day. My oldest son is named Diego, and he was sitting at the table waiting for breakfast, his favorite breakfast of toast, honey toast. So I brought over his plate and I put it down in front of him, and he began to cry. He looked at that plate and he just burst into tears. And, you know, in Pam Leo's book, her suggestion in those moments is to just listen to the emotional flow. Let those emotions flow completely without trying to fix or distract or comfort your child. Simply get close and listen. That was a really revolutionary concept for me at the time because, I was coming from the perspective of, I want to help fix this so that will stop, right? I want to move us out of that as quickly as possible. And that often meant coming in to support him in some really actionable way, either to comfort him, to stop, or to fix the situation. All right, so I had just read this book and I was looking for opportunities to try it out, and here it is showing up at the kitchen table. So I got close to Diego and I said, "Honey, what's wrong?" And he said, "There's crusts on my toast and I don't want crusts." Cry, 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 cry. And for a moment I thought, oh, I could fix that really quickly. I could cut off those crusts and, have this plate back in front of him, and we could keep moving with the day, because I had my eye on the clock. He had to catch the bus, and I wanted to keep us moving along towards that goal. But I didn't. I held back that comment, that action. I got really close. I hunkered down. I put my hand on his back, and I said, "I'm sorry, this is your breakfast today." And that brought on this whole new fresh wave of tears. Cry, cry, cry. He was just sobbing. And I had no idea what this was about. It didn't seem like the toast was worthy of this much emotion. But I was just going to show up with this process and trust that maybe there was something to it. So I stuck with it, and I listened, and I didn't distract him. I didn't fix. And after 15 minutes, which were probably the longest 15 minutes of my life, it stopped. It's like the faucet turned off. He flipped the switch within himself, and the tears just stopped. His sobbing stopped. He wiped his eyes, and he started eating his toast and started actually chattering on like his usual self. Didn't even make reference to that 15-minute bout of tears. It was like a different child was sitting at my table than it had just been here. And I thought that was so curious. So he went off to school that day and had a great day. The next day, I decided to test it out a little bit. So I ended up cutting off the crusts of his honey toast and bringing his plate over to the table to him again. And he took one look at those crustless pieces of toast and started crying again. Burst into tears just like the day before. So I got in close again. I said, "Honey, what's wrong?" And he said, "There's no crust on my toast, and I really wanted crust today." Cry, 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 cry. And so we did this again. I listened. He cried. He poured it all out. After 10 minutes, again, he flipped the switch within, got to the end, wiped his tears, ate his breakfast, was really cheerful, and went off and had another great day at school. And that's what I realized, that he needed a pretext to unload all this emotional clutter that had built up. And he chose the toast. He chose the toast subconsciously to be the wall that he bumped up against emotionally so he could clear that deck, knowing in his emotional subconscious wisdom, knowing that clearing that emotional deck was going to serve him well to go and be present at this new adventure that he was at in kindergarten. And I thought, oh my gosh, this changes everything. And that was the beginning of my journey of really shifting the dial on the parenting paradigm that I was bringing forward with my kids. And it has made all the difference. Over the next few years, my family was going through some really big challenges. We went through divorce, and we went through moving, and we went through a whole new shifting for everyone in the family. My kids had to navigate some really challenging emotional waters, and I was navigating it right alongside them. So to have a parenting paradigm that was really designed to support them emotionally the most healthy way, constructively, I was so grateful. And that's a big core of what I bring to my work, is to assist other families to shift that parenting paradigm to one that really supports emotional processing all the way through, emotional intelligence development, and allows your kids to really develop their own self-regulation, skill building, to be able to access their own inner balance no matter what's going on externally. And it's a journey, right? It takes practice again and again and again. And for our youngest kids, like my child was then, it takes a parent to come alongside and hold space for that journey. And then here's the kicker. For a parent to really do that effectively, for me to have done that effectively, I soon realized it also required me to do that for myself, to hold space for my own emotional processing. What does that mean? Hold space for my own emotional processing. It means anytime I felt dense emotional stuff, like all that stuff that feels uncomfortable in our body, all that stuff that can kind of spin us mentally, it required me to pause in those moments and really move it. Feel it. Allow it to flow. It sounds so simple when I say it like that, but life gets complicated, and it's full, and it's fast, and it's busy, and we load up our plates, and we often don't allow that pause. So that means sometimes we have to go back and clear the deck for things that happened before. So the journey I took from that moment on led me on a lot of pathways to discover all the tools, practices, strategies, and modalities that would support me to do that for myself and also to hold that space for my kids. What we know about suppressed emotion now is so much more than our parents ever knew or their parents ever knew. Every time we invite our kids to get distracted, anytime we move in close to our kids and try and fix the problem or comfort them out of feeling what they're feeling or shut it down in any way, we're supporting them to suppress emotion. Sometimes we're doing that with the best of intentions. But even so, suppression of emotion is never in their long-term interests. In fact, what we know now is that it's very often what's at the root of our physical ailments and challenges in our life, whether it be in relationships or just finding our footing in being in the world. What if we raised our kids to never suppress? What if we raised our kids with the skills that instead of suppressing emotion, which is the message everywhere, suppress emotion, distract yourself with this, numb yourself with this, go comfort yourself with this. Instead of distracting us from feeling whatever we're feeling, we gave them the tools. We gave them the skills. We gave them the practice again and again and again while they're with us growing up of moving that energy. It's simply energy. Emotion is simply energy in motion, seeking to flow. It can be that simple. So let's take a pause right here. Let's put this into action. Just pause whatever you're doing. Place a hand on your heart and your other hand on your belly. Go ahead and bring your attention into your breath with a nice slow inhale in, filling your belly, and a nice slow exhale, expelling all that air from your belly. Take a couple more if that felt good. And let's just go ahead and acknowledge all that you've done for your family today. All that you've shown up for. You know exactly what you've offered up today. And I'm guessing it was a lot. And you may not have gotten a lot of sleep last night. You might not have gotten a good night's sleep for a long time. There's several years of early parenting where that can be the case. And we still get to figure it out, right? We still get to do our best. So go ahead and pause to recognize and love yourself in this moment for all that you've given. Because if we pause and acknowledge for ourselves and really value what we've given, that really supports our family just to receive without any strings attached, right? Which is what we truly want, right? We want to be showing up with unconditional love, acceptance. But if we're stretching ourselves to depletion, that's hard. So we get to be the first ones to take a responsibility for our own self-care. So here's a moment to do that. Just one moment. And as you have that hand on your heart, go ahead and tap your heart. This is really activating for your meridian system, for your nervous system. It really can bring you into harmony, into balance. Can also bring you down into your body, And I want to offer you this possibility to also acknowledge where you may have fallen short today, where you didn't show up at exactly how you aspired to show up, where you may have been short or abrupt or raised your voice or not been fully present with your child. It's okay to feel whatever that is stirring up, if that is real for you. I've had a lot of days where that has been real for me. And it's important for us to feel that. That's part of not suppressing, not bypassing our feelings, our emotions. Allow ourselves to feel those uncomfortable moments and flows. Allow ourselves to feel even remorse. So sorry. Please forgive me. Thank you. I love you. You can go ahead and say that to yourself. It's a really powerful prayer when you really feel it. I'm sorry. Please forgive me. Thank you. I love you. Continue to tap as you do that. You're actually activating your meridian system to flow that energy more freely so that it won't get trapped in your energy body. This is something I love to do at the end of every day. Acknowledge what's gone well, and also pause to feel where it has not gone so well. And allow myself to feel that, just to be human and real with myself. It's such a beautiful practice, and it's something that we can take and share with our kids. What it is to be self-honest and take self-responsibility for all of our emotions. And then let's float the question, I wonder what it would be about to show up tomorrow exactly how I aspire to be all day, every moment. What if I showed up with my full presence, my full unconditional heart, holding space for my child no matter what happens? What if that happened tomorrow? What if I was able to do that tomorrow? What would that feel like? I wonder what it would be like to feel that all day. Even if I'm tired, even if I'm stretched thin, what would that feel like? Yeah, and in that way, we extend the possibility of that potential into the field, into the quantum field. As we begin to feel into that truth, we already set into motion that potential. All right, just find your completion with this very small, brief activity. If you weren't able to do it with me now, I really encourage you to pause later in your day and come back here and take a moment and feel the value of this for yourself. It's something you could easily do daily. This is Quantum Family Podcast, and this is what we're going to be doing. We're going to be diving deep into what it is to be self-honest, to build self-responsibility, self-care, so that we can show up and model and guide and orient our kids into these same skills of being emotionally intelligent, developing self-regulation, tapping into the quantum potential with a variety of energy modalities and mindfulness. So if this feels good, keep a lookout. I'm going to be posting these podcasts every 2 weeks. Please subscribe to stay in touch. You can learn more about my work at KarenMurphyCoaching.com. Thanks so much for being here. I send you so much love. And I'm going to send you off with a reminder from Rumi. This being human is a guest house. Every morning, a new arrival. A joy, a depression, a meanness, some momentary awareness comes as an unexpected visitor. Welcome and attend them all, even if they're a crowd of sorrows who violently sweep your home empty of its furniture. Still, treat each guest honorably. He may be clearing you out for some new delight.